Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. So today we are here with another tutorial on Ansible. So this tutorial will be a continuation of my Ansible basic tutorial series. So if you have seen my previous videos, we have shown how to install Ansible on CentOS and Ubuntu, and we also spoke about ad-hoc commands, how to create playbook. So we are also going to continue on the playbook tutorial here. Okay, so in the last tutorial we have seen how to install application using yum commands in playbook, right? And how to do a multiple installation in the same playbook. So here in this tutorial what we are going to do is we are going to write a playbook, and we'll be creating folders, and also we are going to copy the files from one server to another server using the playbook. Okay, so check out my previous tutorial. Okay, so that will help you to setting up your Ansible if you don't have the Ansible servers ready. Okay, and this beginner tutorial will help to enhance from ad-hoc commands to the playbook section. Okay, so before we get into the playbook, writing on the playbook and how we can work on Ansible, I would request you to subscribe to this channel, like this video, share as much as possible, and provide your comments in the video section. Okay, if I go to the servers, I have two machine. Okay, one will be acting as an Ansible server. So this machine Ansible 1, which will be the machine in which I have an Ansible install. Okay, so if I check Ansible version, you can see I have Ansible 2.9.10 install. Okay, and I have another machine called Ansible 2, which does not have Ansible install. It's just a client machine. Okay, so there is no Ansible, and I have only two folders in the root. One folder mount, and other one is a .config file. Okay, those are the only two files available in the root. Okay, so Ansible 2 will be the client. Okay, and this will be the Ansible machine. Okay, now if I go to the folder /etc/Ansible, okay, and I have a few files, right? The Ansible config file, host, and roles. So let me read this host. Okay, so I'm just doing a recap on something we did in the previous tutorial. Okay, so here if you see I have a collection in the name of test server, and I have given the IP address as 192.168.145.145. okay, this IP address is for my client Ansible 2. Okay, so this is the IP address of my client machine. Okay, so when I use the host as test servers, so whatever I run from Ansible machine will be done in this client. Okay, so that's the collection I have created in that Ansible machine. Okay, so before I get into the playbook, let me just give the simple command we used as an ad hoc. So if you know the ad hoc command to create a folder, we are going to use almost the same things into the playbook. Okay, so how the Ansible ad hoc command will look like, let me just show it to you. So it's going to start with Ansible, and I'm going to call the collection, which will be test servers, right? Okay, that's the collection name. If you have given some other name, you have to use that. And I'm going to call the module, which is called a file, and we have to give the destination and what kind of file. It should be a file, or should be attached, or it should be a folder. Okay, so the argument I have to give it here. So I'm going to give the destination as root file, and it should be a directory, means it's going to be a folder. So what does it means? Like, this is the root folder, right? So it's the root, and here I'm going to create that folder in the name as file. Okay, so that's what it's going to do with this command. Okay, so let me run this. Okay, you can see it changed. So if I go back to the client, you can see there is a file called folder called file, right, which is created. Now if I change this to absent, should be able to see the file folder is deleted. Okay, so that's the simple way to do it. And if you want to create a file, what you can do is you can change this to touch. Okay, and it should be a file, so let me call it as file.txt. Okay, and if I run this, you can see there is a file called file.txt here, right? And similar way we can delete that as well. You can change it to absent. Okay, so it's deleted from here. Now let's see how we can do the same thing in the YAML playbook, right? Ansible playbook we can write in the YAML. So I'm going to use a normal text editor, which is the Sublime Text. You can use any other text editors. Okay, so normally the YAML files start with 3 hyphens or dashes. Okay, and the first thing what I'm going to do is I'm going to give a name for this playbook. Okay, so what I want to do is create folder. Okay, and next thing is you have to give the host. So the host is mandatory, because unless you give the host, you will not be able to run the playbook, right? So it's going to be test servers. Okay, and you also have to define which user you want to run on the host machine. So I'm going to use the root user here. So that should be the first section. Okay, so I'm going to define this task is called creating a folder, and in here, maybe I can write like creating folder server and the user detail. Okay, so this task will define it's a test server and root. Okay, now the next task. So the next is the task. So we have to tell what has to be done in this playbook, right? So I'm going to give a name again for this task. So this task I'm going to give a name like creating folder. Okay, so this time I'm going to create a folder, and I'm going to use the file module. Okay, so it's going to be file. And similar way how we define in the ad-hoc command, what we have to do it here is the destination is going to be /root file, and the state should be directory. So that's all we need to do it for this section of playbook. Okay, so because it's very simple, what we need to do is we need to create a folder called file, and it should be a folder, right? So what I have to do is I have to go to this Ansible machine. Let me create a file, which is I will call it as Ansible folder.yaml. Okay, and I'm going to paste this YAML file which I have copied from the Sublime Text. Okay, so it's going to be same, right? We are going to enter these details, which should be the prerequisite. Then I'm going to run the task, which is going to create the folder. So let me save this file. Okay, so if you see, I have a folder called Ansible folder.yaml. Okay, so so you can I have put this inside the etc/ansible, so maybe I can move it. Okay, move this one to the root. So if I go back to the root, you can see this inside the root folder. Okay, so it doesn't matter wherever you want to keep it, so you can just keep the folder there. Okay, so in order to run this Ansible YAML file, what you need to do is it's a playbook, right? So you need to call the playbook command. Okay, and then the file Ansible folder.yaml. Okay, now we can see the names which we have given. It says creating folder and server, where we have given the server name, right? And then it's running the task where it's gathering the information. So let's wait for this to be completed. You can see it's given an OK message, and it has done a change. So you can see OK 2 and 1 change, right? So 1 change has been happened. What does it means? Like if I go to the client machine, you can see the file is created, right? The folder file is created. Now if I go back to the same my Ansible machine, let me edit the Ansible YAML file, okay? And if I change the state to be absent, let's see what it's happened. Okay, let me run the playbook again. We have to wait because it's gathering the server connectivity, and now we can see it's changed. Okay, so now if I go back here, you can see the folder file is deleted, right? So it's the same process what we did in the ad-hoc command. What we can do is you can create a YAML file and you can run it as Ansible Playbook, right? So the benefit is, like, if you want to repeat this task, you can just call this playbook YAML file, right, using Ansible Playbook command. Otherwise, if it's ad-hoc command, you have to keep running all the time. So the playbook, the benefit is you define your task and then you can run it anytime you want. So let me clear out the screen. Let's add some more into the playbook. Okay, so we have seen how to create a file using the same file module with the attach. Okay, now let me do one thing. Let me create a file here. Okay, which should be, I'll create a folder called demo. Okay, and let me go inside demo, and let me create a file called test.txt. Okay, and I'm going to write this is a demo text file, okay, for Ansible. So now if I read this test file, you can see this content, right? Now what we need to do is, we have this file on this server, right? Now I want to copy this to this machine. Okay, so I will create a folder here as well, demo on client. Okay, so you can see there is one called demo on client. So what we need to do is we need to copy the file from this machine to the client machine. Okay, let's put that into the YAML file. Okay, or maybe let's do one thing. Let's delete this folder. Okay, demo on client. Let me create that using the YAML file itself, right? Okay, so what I will do is I'll call this file name as demo on client. Okay, so what it does, it's create this folder on the client machine, right? So let me add another task. Okay, so I'm going to call this as copying the file from demo folder to demo on client. Okay, so if you have seen my ad-hoc command, we have used the copy module for this. So we are going to use the same here. Okay, so it's going to be a copy module, and the source will be /root/demo/ test.txt, right? So that should be the file, correct? Not here, cd demo, right? Text.txt, right? Okay, so it should be under root/demo and test.txt, right? That should be the source, and the destination should be this location, right? because that's the folder it's getting created there. So it should be root/demo client. Okay, so let's save this. So let me copy this content. Okay, so what we are doing is first task is creating a folder, right, to root demo client, and the second one what it's doing is it's copying the source text file from here and putting there. Okay, so if I go to this server, currently I don't have that demo client folder. Okay, so let me create another YAML file. Okay, so I'll call this Ansible copy.yaml. Okay, so I have copied the content from that text editor to this YAML file and I have saved it. Okay, so let me read this Ansible copy.yaml so you can see this is how it should be, right? So let's run the Ansible Playbook command. Okay, so Ansible Playbook, and it should be Ansible copy.yaml, right? So let's run this YAML file. So as default, it's gathering the server detail and user, which user it will be running this command. Okay, and next it's running the task. So let's wait and see what it does. So you can see it's given the server okay, and then it's changed. Now you can see there is two changes and there are two tasks, right? One is creating folder and the one is copying the folder on demo the client. So let's go here. Now you can see I have a folder called demo on client, and let me go into that. Now you can see the test.txt is there. So let me read it. You can see it's a demo text file.ansible, right? So it's that pretty simple to create this Ansible playbook. Now what the benefit is, as we discussed, this file I can use anytime if I want to run. I can just call this Ansible playbook, it will create the folder, it will copy the file. Now making use of this content what we done in the previous playbook, which is to install application and how to start the service, and now this playbook we have created folders and copied the file. In the next tutorial maybe I will show you how we can combine both and we can run a service, and we can copy some content into the service and we can run some application from that. Okay, so that will be end of this tutorial, and I hope this is informative for you, and I thank you for watching. So kindly subscribe to this channel, like this video, share, comment.